Chapter 1. The Celestial Cradle of Xanga. The twin sons of Xanga cast their golden emerald light across the crystalline spires of New Atocha, the planet's capital city. Massive anti-gravity platforms suspended entire districts above a landscape that once knew only barren desolation. Where desert once stretched endlessly, now breathed a civilization that defied the very laws of planetary evolution. At the heart of the city stood the Alkalation Council Chambers, a towering structure of living metallic architecture that seemed to pulse with an organic rhythm. Inside, the 6 tribal leaders of the Alkalation League convened, their shadows cast dramatically against holographic displays that mapped the intricate history of their world. King Celis, his silver-streaked hair reflecting centuries of wisdom, stood at the central platform. The legacy of Atocha the Lightbringer must never be forgotten, he proclaimed, his voice resonating with the weight of historical memory. Around him, the other leaders, King Conesus, Queen Petra, Emperor Romulus, Brannons, and Barak, listened intently. The relic stones, ancient artifacts of immeasurable power, hummed softly in their protective containment field. Each stone represented a critical energy source that powered Xanga's advanced technological infrastructure. They were more than mere power sources. They were the very lifeblood of their civilization. Beyond the council chambers, the city buzzed with technological marvel. Hover transports glided silently between towering structures, their passengers a blend of humanoid species and cybernetic entities. Holographic advertisements danced across building surfaces, while underground transit systems moved millions with precision and speed. In a nearby training facility, Hannibal moved with purposeful grace. At 45, he was still the most legendary warrior of the Alkalation League. His body, enhanced with biomechanical augmentations, represented the pinnacle of human technological fusion. When he piloted Koba, his 200-foot shadow robot, he became more than a man. He became a living weapon. "The piece we've built is fragile," Hannibal muttered to himself, reviewing combat simulations. His augmented eyes flickered with data streams, analyzing potential threat scenarios. Something in the cosmic winds whispered of impending danger. Queen Petra approached, her holographic interface displaying complex threat matrices. "Our sensors have detected unusual quantum fluctuations near the Void Containment Zone," she reported. The Void, a dimensional prison where the most dangerous entities were locked away, had always been their ultimate safeguard. Unbeknownst to the Council, something was stirring. Deep within the quantum constraints of the Void, a malevolent consciousness began to pulse. Roah Tech, an entity older than Xanga itself, was preparing to break free. The city continued its rhythmic dance of technological wonder, completely unaware of the impending storm. Citizens moved through their daily lives, workers in anti-gravity construction zones, scientists in quantum research laboratories, children playing in augmented reality parks, all living in a delicate balance maintained by the Alkalation League. As evening approached, the bioluminescent structures of New Atocha began to glow, transforming the cityscape into a living, breathing organism of light and motion. Hannibal watched from his training platform, his augmented senses scanning the horizon. Something was coming. Something that would challenge everything they had built. The relic stones pulsed subtly, almost as if they too could sense the approaching darkness. In the shadows of the great city, the first tendrils of Roah Tech's escape began to take shape, a malevolent plan that would soon threaten the very existence of planet Xanga. The stage was set, the players were ready, and the most significant battle in the planet's history was about to begin. Chapter 2. The Escape of Roah Tech. The quantum containment facility gleamed like a razor-sharp crystal against the twilight of Xanga's western horizon. Layers of molecular barriers and quantum lock systems surrounded a central chamber where darkness pulsed with an unnatural rhythm. Dr. Vorin, chief quantum containment specialist, watched the monitors with growing unease. "Quantum stability at 62% and dropping," whispered the AI assistant, its holographic form flickering with concern. Inside the central chamber, something ancient and malevolent stirred. Roah Tech, a consciousness older than Xanga itself, had been waiting. Imprisoned for centuries, trapped between quantum states, it had learned patience. More importantly, it had learned strategy. The first fracture appeared silently, a hairline crack in the quantum matrix, invisible to most detection systems. Voron's hand trembled as he noticed the microscopic deviation. Impossible, he muttered, adjusting the quantum stabilization controls. Roatek's consciousness began to manipulate the molecular structures around its containment. Each vibration, each quantum fluctuation became a tool, a weapon of escape. The facility's advanced security systems, designed by the most brilliant minds of the Alkylation League, began to warp and twist. Alarms erupted suddenly. Crimson warning lights bathed the facility in an apocalyptic glow. Dr. Voron watched in horror as quantum barriers began to dissolve, their complex molecular structures unraveling like fragile threads. "Emergency Protocol Gamma," he shouted, but his voice was swallowed by the growing quantum disturbance. Roatek's escape was not violent. It was surgical. Like a surgeon dismantling intricate machinery, the entity systematically deconstructed its prison. Quantum locks shattered, molecular barriers dissolved, the very fabric of containment unraveled. In the control room, holographic displays showed impossible readings, quantum signatures that defied known physics, energy patterns that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Dr. Voron knew what this meant. Roatek was not just escaping, it was preparing for something far more significant. Miles away, in the Alkylation Council chambers, Queen Petra's quantum detection systems began to pulse with urgent warnings. Her enhanced neural implants processed the data faster than any human could comprehend. "Something is breaking through," she whispered to King Celis, her augmented eyes reflecting complex data streams. "The void, it's been compromised." King Celis, his weathered hands gripping an ancient ceremonial staff, understood the implications immediately. The relic stones, the very power source of their civilization, were now potentially vulnerable. Back at the containment facility, Dr. Voron made a final desperate attempt to halt the escape. Quantum dampeners surged with unprecedented power, but Roatek was already beyond conventional containment. A final, catastrophic surge of energy erupted. The facility's entire structure seemed to fold in on itself, quantum boundaries warping and twisting. And then silence. Where the quantum containment facility had stood moments before, only a perfect geometric crater remained, smooth as glass, reflecting the twin suns of Zanga with an unnatural, mirror-like precision. Roatek was free. Its first objective was clear: locate the relic stones. And nothing, no force on Zanga or beyond, would stand in its way. In the shadows of New Atocha, ancient mechanisms began to stir. The war for planetary dominance was about to begin. The Alkylation League's worst nightmare had just been unleashed. Chapter 3: Formation of the Warrior Team. The cavernous halls of the Alkylation Council chambers resonated with tension as the leaders of the 6 tribes assembled. Holographic displays flickered with tactical information, casting an ethereal blue light across the worried faces of King Celis, Queen Petra, and the other council members. "Roatek's escape is more than a security breach," King Celis declared, his voice cutting through the murmur of concerned conversations. "It is a direct threat to everything we have built on Zanga." Queen Petra stepped forward, her quantum scanner displaying erratic energy signatures. "The quantum disruptions are increasing. We need a specialized team, warriors who can match Roatek's technological capabilities." Emperor Romulus, his cybernetic eye scanning the room, nodded grimly. Hannibal must lead this mission. The legendary warrior stood silent, his enhanced biomechanical frame a testament to Zangan technological prowess. Hannibal's reputation preceded him, a warrior who had defended the planet multiple times, his connection to the ancient mechanisms deeper than most understood. "I recommend assembling a team with diverse capabilities," Hannibal spoke, his voice a low, resonant blend of human emotion and technological precision. Crane's earth manipulation, Natika's combat expertise, and Origi's unique abilities will be crucial. One by one, the potential team members were summoned. Crane arrived first, his massive frame accompanied by a sophisticated robotic companion. Rocks and asteroid fragments seemed to orbit around him, responding to his slightest mental command. His eyes, part organic and part quantum-enhanced circuitry, scanned the room with calculated precision. Natika entered next, her movements fluid and predatory. She carried herself with the confidence of a warrior who had survived countless battles. Her combat suit, a marvel of Zangan engineering, shifted and adapted to her body's movements, revealing intricate technological interfaces. Origi was the last to arrive, his presence causing a subtle shift in the room's energy. Unlike the others, his abilities were less understood, a blend of technological enhancement and something more primal, more mysterious. King Konsis activated a holographic display showing the potential trajectories of Roah Tech's anticipated attacks. The relic stones are our primary concern. If Roah Tech gains control, the entire planetary defense system could be compromised. Hannibal stepped forward, activating a holographic interface that displayed schematics of their potential combat formations. We're not just defending stones, we're protecting the legacy of Atoka and everything our civilization represents. The selection process was intense. Each warrior underwent rigorous tests that examined not just their physical capabilities, but their mental synchronization, technological compatibility, and strategic thinking. Quantum simulators ran thousands of battle scenarios, testing their collective response to potential threats. Crane's ability to manipulate geological structures could create instant defensive formations. Nitika's combat algorithms could predict and counter enemy movements with remarkable accuracy. Origi's mysterious abilities added an unpredictable element that could prove crucial. Honor is not just about individual strength, Hannibal reminded them, but about how we unite against a common threat. The warriors looked at each other, a silent understanding passing between them. They were no longer individual fighters, but a unified team with a singular purpose, protecting Zanga from Roah Tech's imminent invasion. As the council meeting concluded, the weight of their responsibility was palpable. They were no longer just warriors, but the last line of defense for an entire civilization. Hannibal looked out over the gleaming cityscape of New Atocha, the twin suns casting long shadows. "Prepare yourselves," he said quietly to his team. "Roah Tech is coming, and we will be ready." The formation of the warrior team was complete. The battle for Zanga's survival was about to begin. Chapter 4: The Epic Battle. The horizon of planet Zanga erupted in a cascade of quantum energy as Roah Tech's robotic armies descended upon the planet's surface. Massive war machines carved intricate patterns of destruction across the landscape, their metallic forms gleaming with an otherworldly precision that spoke of centuries of technological evolution. Hannibal stood at the helm of Koba, the 200-foot shadow robot, responding to his every neural command. His eyes, augmented with quantum tracking systems, scanned the incoming waves of mechanical warriors. "Formation Delta," he commanded through the team's neural link, his voice calm but charged with an underlying intensity. Crane's massive asteroid-like mech responded first, its rocky exterior shifting and reconfiguring to create defensive barriers. His robotic companion, a sleek quantum-powered assistant, calculated trajectories and potential attack vectors with lightning speed. "Incoming cluster at 3 o'clock, the robot reported, its voice a crisp digital tone. Naitika's serpentine robot, Sela, twisted through the air with impossible grace. Her combat algorithms were working overtime, predicting and countering enemy movements before they could fully materialize. "Roah Tech's first wave is nothing more than a probe," she commented, her fingers dancing across quantum interface panels. "He's testing our defenses." Origi remained silent, his mech a mysterious configuration that seemed to pulse with an energy neither mechanical nor organic. Where the others displayed clear technological prowess, Origi's capabilities remained an enigma even to his teammates. The first wave of Roah Tech's robotic army crashed against their defensive line. Quantum energy erupted in brilliant displays of technological warfare. Hannibal's Koba swept entire squadrons with massive electromagnetic pulses, while Crane's asteroid mech created geological barriers that swallowed entire robotic formations. "The relic stones are the true target," Hannibal transmitted to his team. "Roah Tech wants more than just planetary conquest. He seeks absolute technological dominion." Naitika's Sela serpent robot unleashed a series of quantum disruptors, creating cascading failure points in the enemy's mechanical network. Robotic soldiers disintegrated mid-charge, their complex systems collapsing under the precision of her attacks. But Roah Tech was not merely a mindless technological entity. Its consciousness, ancient and calculating, adapted with each moment of the battle. Where one attack failed, it immediately reconfigured its strategy, sending waves of increasingly complex robotic warriors. The battlefield became a canvas of technological destruction. Quantum energy signatures painted the sky in colors no human eye could naturally perceive. Hannibal realized they were facing more than just a mechanical invasion. This was a sentient attack designed to completely overwhelm their defensive capabilities. "He's learning," Crane observed, his robotic companion displaying complex algorithmic predictions. "Each wave is more sophisticated than the last." Rohatech's true form began to manifest, not as a singular entity, but as a distributed consciousness that could inhabit and control multiple mechanical forms simultaneously. This was a war against an intelligence that could be everywhere and nowhere at once. As the battle reached its initial crescendo, the warrior team found themselves pushed to their absolute limits. Rohatech's robotic armies seemed endless, a tide of metallic destruction that threatened to consume everything in its path. Hannibal knew that this was merely the beginning. The real battle for Planet Zanga's survival was just taking shape, and the outcome remained terrifyingly uncertain. The chapter concluded with the warrior team standing resolute, their advanced mechs battered but unbroken, facing an enemy that represented the absolute pinnacle of technological warfare. The fate of an entire planet hung in the balance, with each quantum pulse and robotic exchange bringing them closer to either salvation or total annihilation. Chapter 5. The Turning Point. The battlefield of Zanga lay in ruins, smoke billowing from countless destroyed mechs and shattered technological remnants. Hannibal's massive robot, Koba, stood barely operational, its metallic frame cracked and sparking with critical damage. Around him, Crane, Naytika, and Origi were similarly battered, their once mighty machines reduced to skeletal shadows of their former power. Rohatech's robotic armies had pushed them to the absolute limits of defeat. The malevolent entity seemed to be everywhere at once, its consciousness controlling multiple mechanical forms simultaneously, adapting faster than the warrior team could respond. Each strategic maneuver they attempted was immediately countered with a devastating precision that suggested something beyond mere programmed intelligence. "We're losing ground." Crane's voice crackled through the communication system, his Earth manipulation mech now resembling a fractured boulder more than a weapon of war. "Rohatech is learning and adapting faster than any system we've ever encountered." Naytika, her serpent-like robot Sela barely maintaining structural integrity, responded with a grunt of frustration. "Our conventional tactics are useless. We need something radical." Hannibal's tactical mind raced. Throughout their battle, they had observed a consistent pattern in Rohatech's attack strategy, a mathematical precision that, while incredibly advanced, was still fundamentally predictable. But predictability meant vulnerability. "Wait," Hannibal's voice cut through the chaos, a spark of realization flickering in his tone. "It's quantum synchronization. Every attack follows a quantum probability matrix. If we can introduce a quantum disruption, we might create a momentary weakness." Origi, who had been unusually silent, suddenly spoke. "The relic stones, they're not just power sources, they're quantum stabilization artifacts. If we can use their inherent quantum signature as a disruptive frequency." The plan began to take shape, a desperate, almost impossible strategy that required perfect synchronization and timing. They would use the very quantum properties that made Rohatech powerful against the entity itself. Crane's robotic companion, an AI system named Arya, began calculating complex quantum interference patterns. Probability of success is 0.0037%, but it's our only viable option. Hannibal's legendary status wasn't just about his combat skills, but his ability to make impossible decisions under extreme pressure. "We're doing this. Prepare quantum disruption sequence." Each warrior would need to channel their unique abilities simultaneously. Crane would use his Earth manipulation to create a quantum interference field. Naytika's combat precision would help target the specific quantum nodes. Origi's mysterious abilities would provide the final quantum destabilization trigger. As Rohatech's armies converged for what seemed like a final devastating assault, the warrior team prepared their most audacious counterattack. The very fabric of quantum reality would become their battlefield. "For Zanga," Hannibal whispered, his massive robot Koba charging its final quantum capacitors. The next moments would determine not just their survival, but the fate of an entire civilization. The quantum disruption sequence initiated, a complex dance of energy and probability that would either save planet Xanga or utterly destroy it. Roah Tech, for the first time in its ancient existence, detected something it hadn't anticipated, a fundamental challenge to its quantum consciousness that it couldn't immediately predict or counter. The turning point had arrived. Quantum energies began to swirl, reality itself seeming to bend and twist around the warrior team's desperate gambit. The fate of planet Xanga hung in a delicate, almost imperceptible balance, waiting to be tipped by the outcome of this extraordinary moment. Chapter 6: The Conclusion. The final battle for planet Xanga erupted with a thunderous cacophony of quantum energy and mechanical destruction. Hannibal, piloting Koba the Destroyer, stood at the epicenter of the confrontation, his massive 200-foot shadow robot a beacon of hope against Roah Tech's relentless assault. Crane's Earth manipulation abilities manifested in a spectacular defense, transforming the battlefield into a living weapon. Massive geological formations rose and fell, creating unexpected barriers and projectiles that tore through Roah Tech's robotic legions. His robotic companion synchronized perfectly, calculating trajectories and amplifying his Earth-based attacks with precision. Naitika's serpentine robot, Sela, weaved through the chaos with unparalleled agility. Her combat expertise translated into every movement, each strike calculated to maximum effect. The robot's quantum-enhanced blade cut through Roah Tech's mechanical soldiers like light through darkness, leaving trails of disintegrating metal in its wake. Origi, whose abilities had remained mysterious throughout the conflict, finally revealed his true potential. Quantum energy crackled around him, his mech generating a field of pure potential that seemed to rewrite the very rules of engagement. Where other warriors saw obstacles, Origi saw opportunities, manipulating probability itself to turn the tide of battle. "The relic stones are our last hope," Hannibal's voice crackled through the team's communication channel. "If Roah Tech controls them, everything we've fought for will be lost." Roah Tech's response was a chilling mechanical laugh that resonated through their communication systems. "Your primitive resistance is futile. The stones will be mine, and with them, I will reshape this entire planetary system." The battle reached its critical moment when Hannibal noticed a subtle quantum fluctuation in Roah Tech's primary defense matrix. With a precision born of years of combat experience, he signaled to his team. "Now," he shouted. Crane's Earth formations suddenly transformed, creating quantum resonance points that disrupted Roah Tech's energy field. Naitika's Sela struck with pinpoint accuracy, exploiting the momentary weakness. Origi's probability manipulation created a cascading effect that seemed to simultaneously exist and not exist, confusing the malevolent entity's computational systems. In a final, desperate move, Hannibal brought Koba the Destroyer to full quantum potential. The massive robot began to generate a containment field around Roah Tech, drawing upon the very energy the entity had used against them. It was a risky strategy, one that could potentially destroy them all if miscalculated. "For Xanga," Hannibal roared, his voice a mixture of technological amplification and raw human determination. The quantum containment field collapsed, taking Roah Tech with it. The battlefield went silent, save for the occasional spark of dying machinery and the settling of massive geological formations Crane had manipulated. In the aftermath, the Alkylation League leaders emerged from their protective shelters. King Celis approached Hannibal, his aged face a mixture of relief and reverence. "You have saved not just our planet, but potentially the entire star system." Queen Petra stepped forward, holding one of the relic stones. Its energy pulsed softly, a testament to the battle that had just concluded. The stones remained protected, our legacy intact. Origi, typically silent, spoke for the first time since the battle's conclusion. This was more than a victory. This was a preservation of potential, of what could be rather than what might have been destroyed. As the dust settled, the warrior team stood together, not as individual fighters, but as a unified force that had defended their home against an incomprehensible threat. The battle had tested their limits, challenged their understanding of technology and power, and ultimately demonstrated the most fundamental truth, that unity and determination could overcome even the most advanced technological threat. The relic stones glimmered in the light of Xanga's twin suns, a reminder of the delicate balance between technology and humanity, between destruction and preservation. Planet Xanga would rebuild. The Alkylation League would continue to protect their home, and the legend of Hannibal and his team would be told for generations to come, a story of honor, loyalty, and the ultimate triumph of collective will over individual malevolence.